closing monologue, universal numbers group, UN group, full recurrence architecture. In the end, the question was never only whether eclipses repeat. Science has long known that they do. The deeper question has always been this: how do they repeat? Do they return only as periodic events, or do they return as part of a larger order? That is where the universal numbers group has placed its attention. Not on eclipse wonder alone, not on eclipse prediction alone, but on eclipse structure. On the possibility that behind the familiar record of recurrence, there may exist a deeper architecture of sequence, grouping, landing, symmetry, and return. What has been shown here is not the whole of that work. It is an opening, a first view into a system the universal numbers group believes is larger, more layered, and more coherent than ordinary presentation reveals. A system in which eclipse families are not only cataloged, but organized. A system in which position matters, in which timing matters, in which recurrence may be tracked not only across years, but across structure. And at the heart of that structure lies a question both simple and profound. What if the visible incompleteness of the eclipse world is not the final form of the system? What if it is the visible trace of a deeper architecture that has not yet been fully recognized? That is why the universal numbers group turned to the wheel, to the zones, to the sequences, to the groups, to the 39 active solar Saros series, to the concentrated local structure of the UN group AGT, and to the smallest hinge of all, 12.89 seconds, a difference almost too small to notice. Yet in this doctrine, possibly large enough to mark the boundary between drift and closure, between partial realization and completed recurrence. Whether one approaches this work as astronomy, as mathematical structure, as symbolic geometry, or simply as a question worth taking seriously, the challenge remains the same. Look carefully, follow the relations, test what can be tested, and ask whether the eclipse world may be telling a deeper story than we have allowed ourselves to hear. Because if the architecture shown here is real, then these patterns are not ornamental. They are not accidental. They are not inventions placed on top of the sky. They are part of the sky's own order. And if that is true, then what has been uncovered is not merely a new way of looking at eclipses. It is a new threshold in understanding recurrence itself. The universal numbers group does not ask, in the end, for belief before examination. Only attention, only patience, only the willingness to look long enough for structure to reveal its own language. And perhaps that is where all real discoveries begin, not in certainty, but in the moment when something long familiar begins to appear in a different light. This is the universal numbers group. And this is not the end of the question. It is the beginning of a question that may change how the heavens are read.